Okay, so let's get into this. We're talking about a story that has it all. A billion-dollar bet, the promise of a perfect smile, and well, a whole lot of hidden pain. We're going to dive deep into the story of Byte and how a healthcare giant's huge ambition allegedly left thousands of its customers in agony.
So here's the big question, right? How does a $1 billion bet on getting you a perfect smile go so wrong that it leads to thousands of injuries and a complete stock market meltdown for the company? We're going to unpack all of it using allegations straight from a massive class action lawsuit. It's pretty wild.
$1 billion. Just let that sink in for a second. That's how much the dental industry giant Dentsply Sirona paid for the at-home aligner company Byte back in late 2020. This wasn't just them buying another company. This was a massive, all-in bet on the future of teledentistry. Getting your dental care remotely through an app.
All right, so what was this billion-dollar promise exactly? What was Dentsply Sirona selling to investors, to the public, to justify spending that kind of cash?
Okay, so this is where their strategy gets really interesting, and looking back, pretty ironic. They basically positioned Byte as the anti-Smile Direct Club. You see, Smile Direct Club was getting all this bad press, right? So Byte came in and said, nope, we're different. We are the safe, responsible, doctor-directed choice. That was their whole pitch.
And here you have the former CEO, Don Casey, just hammering that point home on an investor call. The message was super clear, and they said it over and over again. Every single treatment plan is overseen by a licensed professional. This wasn't just some marketing fluff, it was the absolute core of their brand. But, and you knew there was a but coming, right? The lawsuit claims that behind that shiny, polished image of professional oversight, something very different, and frankly, much darker was going on.
And this is the bombshell allegation from former employees that just makes your jaw drop. The claim is that in a meeting, sales staff were literally told to stop telling potential customers if the product was medically unsuitable for them. Let me say that again. Stop telling people if the treatment could actually harm them. The goal? To improve sales figures.
So what does contraindicated even mean? It's a fancy medical term, but it's simple. It means the treatment could be dangerous for you. We're talking about serious issues, like gum disease or major jaw problems, that could make using these at-home aligners an absolute disaster for your health.
The lawsuit then lays out this unbelievable internal process. It alleges that if a dentist or orthodontist looked at a case and said, nope, this person isn't a good candidate, the system would just auto-reassign it to another doctor, and another, until one of them, sometimes called a super approver, gave it the green light. And the patients, they allegedly never even spoke to a doctor. They were getting medical advice from customer service reps. And the result of all these alleged changes? Well, it worked if you're just looking at sales. The number of patients getting rejected went way down, and the sales conversion rate shot up by about 20%. But as we're about to see, that financial win came at a truly devastating human cost.
Yeah, this alleged chase for profits wasn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It had a real, and in many cases, a terrible impact on actual people.
The legal filing is just filled with these heartbreaking stories. I mean, just read this one. People claiming they suffered serious, painful, and sometimes permanent injuries. We're talking nerve damage, loose teeth, fractured teeth. These are the alleged results of that billion-dollar smile.
Now, get ready for this number. It is just staggering. The lawsuit alleges that Dentsply knew about nearly 6,894 to be exact, serious patient injuries. And yet it claims they failed to report them to the FDA, which is required by law.
And this chart really just says it all. It shows the massive gap between the thousands of injuries Dentsply allegedly knew about and the tiny fraction, less than 200, that they actually reported to the regulators. The scale of the alleged cover-up is just breathtaking.
You can't keep a secret that big forever. The pressure started to build, and that billion-dollar promise, it began to completely fall apart.
And look at how fast the collapse happened. First, the CEO is suddenly terminated. Then, they suspend all marketing and sales for Byte. Then the stack absolutely tanks. And finally, they do a full write-off of the trademark, which is basically admitting the billion-dollar brand was now worthless.
That's what a broken promise looks like in the stock market. On one single day, November 7th, 2024, Dentsply's stock crashed 28%. Billions in shareholder value, just gone. It's a pretty stark reminder of the financial cost of an alleged ethical collapse.
So the explosion of Byte and Smile Direct Club before it sent these huge shockwaves through the entire teledentistry industry. And regulators?
they were finally forced to pay attention.
This isn't just about one or two bad companies anymore. There's a wave of new regulations sweeping across the country. States are starting to require in-person exams, and even the FDA is tightening up its rules. It feels like the Wild West days of teledentistry might be coming to an end.
So what's the big takeaway from all of this for you and me? It's a huge cautionary tale. In this new world of super convenient, direct-to-consumer health tech, we have to be skeptical. When a company claims doctor oversight, we need to really question what that actually means and not just take their word for it.
And really, the whole Byte saga leaves us with this massive, critical question for the future of healthcare, doesn't it? In this huge race for innovation and for profit, who's actually looking out for the patient? And how do we make sure that all this amazing new technology actually serves people instead of the other way around?